So I'm taking a look at a couple of Tom Cruise movies from the Mission Impossible series. In the first scene that I show you, it's from Mission Impossible 2, and he's doing some free climbing. The first situation, he's jumping from one part of the cliff to another, and he's going to land on one leg, and check and see how much that leg flexes when he lands on it. I would suggest that it doesn't flex enough to reflect the true physics of the situation. Instead, it would probably crumple right there and maybe fall over backwards. But you'll see that's not what happens. Continuing on with the scene, as he slides down the face of the cliff, he manages to stop himself with two hands, I think 4 fingers on each hand. That's a lot of pressure to hold his body weight. On Wikipedia, it says Tom Cruise is about 150 pounds, so that's 68 kilograms. And when I measured how much of my fingers I would be able to put on a lip of rock, it was a very small amount. Let's see, I think it was like 12 square centimeters. So that's at the most on each hand, about 3 by 4 centimeters. And so that's a lot of pressure when you consider force of his 68 kilograms over such a small area. Now, in this next scene, continuing on the free climbing, you see Tom drop from 2 hands on the cliff to just 1 hand. So now he's got all of that pressure on just 1 hand. And then after that, he swings without rocking back and forth, but he swings up to a blind grip, and his center of gravity rises up maybe 1/3 of a meter, but he does this without swinging his body left and right to be able to rock himself up. Keep in mind, he's going to go from a one-handed grip to a two-handed grip, but I don't see in the physics of it how he would raise his center of gravity up like that. Continuing from Mission Impossible 2, we have a motorcycle chase scene towards the end. And I keep saying Tom Cruise. I guess I should be saying Ethan Hunt. But I'll stick with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise and his villain opponent, Dougray Scott, face off each other. And they come at each other on motorcycles. And you'll hear the motorcycles rev up and then take off. And they're coming towards each other head on. At the last instant, before a collision, they both jump out of their seat on the motorcycle and they collide. And what you'll notice is it's an inelastic collision. They stick together. And instead of falling straight down or going backwards or forwards in a two-dimensional direction, they actually appear to go off in a third axis off to the left, I believe, of the collision. And they collapse in quite a heap after falling quite a distance. Also of note is a gun separates from one of the two and is up in the air, but lands ahead of the two men. And we know that this could not happen since objects would fall at the same rate. Moving to another one of the Mission Impossible movies. This one's Mission Impossible 4, and what we have is a helicopter scene, and Tom chases after a helicopter, grabs onto a rope, and climbs up the cargo, the rope that's holding up the cargo. At the top, he's trying to transfer over from the rope to get onto the runners of the helicopter so that he can climb aboard. And yeah, what we're going to see is he falls. When Tom falls, he becomes a projectile. He is now in free fall. And objects in free fall, a projectile, they have two types of motion. You've got vertical motion and you have horizontal motion. And let's talk about the horizontal motion. He should continue moving along at the same pace. That is not affected by his vertical motion. So he should be going at the same speed horizontally the whole time that he is falling. So he should land on the cargo. So we can see that was some good physics. So now Tom is going to climb back up and he's going to take over control of the helicopter.
This is power. How do I get rid of this payload?
Tom's decided he's going to drop the cargo now on top of the helicopter below. So if he wants the cargo to interfere or collide with the helicopter below, where should he position his helicopter? Keep in mind, both helicopters are moving horizontally. He should have learned from his fall when he landed on cargo. He should be directly above, but instead he positions himself in front of the lower helicopter. So what would you expect would happen? And so here we saw a little bit of bad physics. He did probably more by feel, thinking, I've got to get ahead and the helicopter will fly into it, like a lot of people would think. So that's some bad physics thinking on his part. Thanks for watching.